Yeah.
Can I switch topics to Venezuela? I know that Kirby had some reaction earlier on the arrest warrant for the presidential candidate for González Urrutia. I wanted to ask you about that, but also wanted to ask you about the seizure of President Maduro's airplane in the Dominican Republic. I'm sure that's a Department of Justice issue, but how do you see that in the current context of what's happening in Venezuela? Do you see this as an aspect of pressure at all? How do you expect Maduro to respond to this? And what are you looking for?
Yeah, so first with respect to the first question, so we do condemn the arrest warrant for Edmundo González for allegedly inciting violence. And I would note that it's not just the United States that's condemning this arrest warrant, it's countries in the region, Argentina, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Paraguay, Peru, the Dominican Republic, and Uruguay, who have all condemned this unjustified arrest warrant. The arbitrary and politically motivated action demonstrates the extraordinary lengths to which Nicolás Maduro will go to try and maintain power following his attempt to steal the July 28th presidential election. And when it comes to the seizure of the plane, so what I would say is that the United States enforces its sanctions, and we're always going to enforce our sanctions. And so I would look at this less related to the election itself and more about the consequences that Maduro needs to continue to feel for his illegitimate and repressive anti-democratic actions. So those are actions for which he has been sanctioned. I'm not talking about with respect to the election, that we have sanctioned him over the years. So we have imposed sanctions on Maduro and his regime for their anti-democratic actions. Those long predate his most recent anti-democratic action, and we will continue to enforce those sanctions.
I know one of the lines that the State Department, the Treasury Department always have: the sanctions need not be permanent. I mean, in this case, what if he wants his plane back? I mean, what?
I'll let the Treasury Department and the Justice Department speak to the specifics.
Okay, but in terms of this, if it is an aspect of pressure, if it's specifically for the election or not, I mean, what are you looking for him to do? I mean, are there actions he could take to,
So I will say, when it comes to there's two ways to answer the question. One is to look at all of the various actions over the years for which we have sanctioned the Maduro regime and Maduro himself, and we would look to see him reverse those actions. But when you look at the most acute issue, obviously it's his attempt to steal the presidential election. So there are a number of things that we have called on him to do: to stop cracking down on dissent, to release the actual tally sheets, which he still has not done, and to get Venezuela back on its democratic path, something we have called for him to do. He has not shown a willingness to do so. And so in coordination with our partners, we are considering a range of options to demonstrate to Maduro and his representatives that their illegitimate and repressive actions in Venezuela have consequences.
Sure. Just very briefly, I don't know if you have anything on this because it happened quite recently, but in Uganda, the opposition leader